Welcome to Movie Speeching. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take good care. Resident Evil is the name of the series. In 2036, the sector has been destroyed by using the T-virus pandemic. Earth's ecosystems had been overwhelmed, governments and cities have collapsed, and the human populace has significantly contracted. Around 6 billion people had been inflamed and suffer from brain damage that transforms them into violent cannibals known as Zeros. Maximum of the sector is a desolate tract, so humanity lives in walled towns referred to as freeholds. In London, Jade works as a researcher for the university, an organization devoted to research and maintenance of artifacts from before the apocalypse. Her mission is to report any new mutations inside the Zeros, so she spends quite a few time moving around, and Simplest sees her partner Arjun and her daughter B on video calls. Jade puts on fragrance to cover her smell and goes out with a rabbit to conduct and test. After setting up her digicam, she places a drop of blood at the rabbit and leaves it within the center of an open vicinity. A group of Zeros smell the blood and start chasing the rabbit, who just runs away because the Zeros stumble upon each different. Jade notices that they still haven't any coordination abilities or PC structure. When she tries to leave, she by chance gets a scratch on her arm, and the smell of blood right now indicators the Zeros. A chase ensues and Jade runs as speedy as she will be able to. However, a Zero manages to leap on her anyway. She struggles in opposition to it till she can push it again into the safety perimeter, where flamethrowers spark off and burn the horde down. Once they're all useless, a red smoke puts out the flames. All of a sudden the ground starts shaking and a large caterpillar bursts out. Jade immediately runs to cover. However, the caterpillar catches her by using the legs and throws her on top of an automobile. When the creature is set to kill her, 3 armed men display up and open fire, quick killing it. Then they check on Jade to make sure she's excellent and are stunned to look a tattoo on her wrist that way she's a survivor from the initial outbreak. This all started 14 years ago in 2022, 3 months earlier than the pandemic. Half-twins Jade and Billy moved to New Raccoon City due to the fact their father Albert has back to his activity within the Umbrella Employers Board of Executives after a long absence. New Raccoon City is a planned community built in South Africa, and all and sundry there is an employee of Umbrella in some manner. The ladies aren't happy approximately the pass and often call out their dad for being concerned approximately work extra than them. Every weeks, Albert takes a blood sample from his daughters, however has in no way stated why. In mystery, Albert studies the samples under a microscope before recording his findings and injecting the blood into his neck. The next day at college, Billy sits by herself at lunch. Tammy approaches her to research extra approximately her handiest to then begin mocking the whole lot approximately Billy. A frustrated Billy offers her the finger and Tammy retaliates by attacking her, so they combat at the ground until a teacher forces them to break up. The sisters rush home and Jade tries to comfort her sister, but they find out the combat has been uploaded to social media and now Billy is a joke among classmates. The following day at Umbrella, Roth suggests Albert footage of an experiment going wrong in Tijuana and all of the violence it triggered, which ended with 6 injured and 3 lifeless humans. The organization has blanketed it all up, however Albert concerns because it's going on once more. In the meantime at school, Tammy is inside the bathroom while a student wearing the mascot masks all at once bashes her head. Afterward, the predominant brings Billy out of sophistication because the mask become determined in her locker, so they think she did it. It was truly Jade, who desired to make her sister appearance cool. A parents' conference is held and Tammy's dad threatens with urgent criminal expenses, even as calling Billy a schizophrenic. At that moment Albert is available and reminds the man that he's just a low-stage worker while Albert is part of the corporation board, so he has the power to fireplace and blacklist anybody from employment in other companies. The man apologizes for what he stated and forces Tammy to apologize to Billy too. Albert seems like a correct father and offers Billy to have lunch with him at his workplace. After college, Billy is going to Umbrella. As she walks through the corridors, she sees distinctive enterprise projects, from scientific machines to an Endure hologram that sells medication. Subsequently, she reaches the waiting room and is devastated to look a car pass with wounded rabbits, meaning they use animals for their experiments. Later inside the evening, Billy asks Jade to assist her sneak into Umbrella and get evidence of the animal experimentation. They scouse borrow Albert's stuff and head to Umbrella, where Albert's voice email lets in them to get past the voice test at the entrance and his keycard gives Jade admission to the elevator and the lab. Billy immediately begins recording the animals of their cages while Jade guesses her dad makes use of the same password for the whole lot and accesses his PC. Thus she reveals the Tijuana clip and notices Umbrella guards taking pictures at humans. Then Billy opens a mysterious door, simplest for mutated Doberman to come come out. The beast attempts to attack, so the girls take the elevator to get away and find out the alarms have finally activated. The dog escapes the lab and is so sturdy that it's pounding on metallic. The sisters run to cover under a desk and anticipate the dog to move down the hall. Subsequent Billy tries starting the door, however this triggers the hologram. The canine follows the noise and unearths the sisters underneath the desk. Fortunately, they circulate simply in time to run out of the room. They rush to the doorway, yet they can't open the door, and the canine catches up to them with the aid of leaping through a window. The beast assaults Billy and starts mauling her, so Jade grabs a fire extinguisher and pounds the dog to death. Then Jade clings to her sister as she bleeds out. Within the gift, Jade wakes up in a Freehold's clinical bay, wherein all her wounds have already been healed. Whilst she assessments the news on a device, she's found through Tate, who gives her a tour. Jade wants to pass back to her camp, so Tate shoots a flare to show her that their partitions are surrounded by using zeros. If Jade wants to leave, she'll ought to watch for their handiest helicopter to go back. Whilst Tate and Jade discuss the situation, someone broadcasts that an Umbrella helicopter is on its way. It seems Umbrella has a bounty on authentic survivors, and Jade is wide variety on the listing. Even as Tate continues Jade at gunpoint, two choppers arrive with Umbrella troops led by Baxter. As quickly as Tate points Jade out to him, Baxter shoots him and orders his troops to wipe out the locals. A shootout ensues, and those begin dropping useless while Jade runs away. Quickly, the soldiers also use a flamethrower to convey down the constructing. Jade tries to keep away from the flames and reveals her path blocked via the squad dies and Baxter, who says her sister has been seeking out her. Jade refuses to cooperate and jumps proper into the huge horde of Zeros. She lands on a dumpster and rolls on the ground, in which the Zeros' famous person chasing her. Jade begins strolling once more whilst Baxter orders his guys to open hearth at the Zeros to keep Jade alive. As she uses a clear wall as a defend, Baxter guarantees to save her if she concurs to leave with them. At that second, a local bursts out of the constructing in a car, so Jade pushes a gaggle of Zeros away to attain the car and climb on its roof. The driving force quick takes off, but when it's approximately to attain the exit within the outer walls, the auto stops to avoid Jade getting hurt via the spikes at the roof. Then the driving force points a gun at her, telling her to break out from him due to the fact her presence makes him a goal too. Jade attempts to persuade him to work together, but at that second the Zeros start falling around them due to the fact they're leaping from the roof. The motive force shoots a few of them, however he's quickly overpowered and Jade fails to keep him. While the Zeros feed on him, Jade breaks the window to take the motive force's seat and ultimately leave the Freehold. Ultimately, Jade makes it to the Dover Freehold, which currently signed a security settlement with Umbrella for greater safety. Jade makes it to a rental belonging to Melinda, whose husband Barry has helped her in the Beyond. Barry isn't around, but Melinda lets in her to are available in and use her pill. Jade calls Arjun to warn him Umbrella is after her, and he advises her to go the channel to Calais, a territory that belongs to a business enterprise known as Brotherhood. At that moment, Jade hears an unusual noise and enters the toilet best to find a handcuffed Barry, who has emerged as a Zero. Melinda explains he chained himself due to the fact he felt unwell and guessed he was infected. She additionally says that Barry has the ebook with all his smuggler contacts, so Jade will need to retrieve it if she wants to get away. Jade gears up with random household gadgets and enters the bathroom once more, discovering that Melinda has been feeding her cats to Barry. She manages to knock him down and starts off evolved looking his wallet to sooner or later discover the notebook. Unexpectedly, Barry's wrist breaks and he frees himself from the handcuffs, pushing Jade away to assault Melinda rather. Whilst he's about to kill her, Jade kills him from at the back of. After Jade leaves, Baxter arrives and interrogates Melinda. On the local tavern, Jade meets Barry's touch and tries to get a trip together with her wedding ring, but the smuggler desires her to pay off Barry's debt too. When you consider that she can't pay, she alternatively steals the price ticket from a drunkard. In the evening, Jade waits with the aid of the pier for the ferry, only for Baxter and his men to unexpectedly arrive. They shoot the smuggler and then a drone opens fireplace everywhere in the vicinity, causing the gang to panic and start walking. Jade runs as well and finds a gun on the floor that she grabs before hiding. Then she notices a very scared boy, so she choices him up and enters a warehouse to guard him. Soon Baxter's men have both killed or captured each character on the pier, however Baxter still makes them search the area for Jade. At that moment a door opens within the warehouse, however it's just the boy's mother and father. They've a group of alcohol that they want to smuggle to Calais to begin a new lifestyles, so Jade agrees to group up with them and pay for the Channel Tunnel route. In 2022, a bleeding Billy wakes up and Jade facilitates her walk into another room, in which she assessments the awful wound. At that moment they're found through Albert, who speedy wraps up the injury and tells the girls to get away via a facet door because the guards are on their way. He additionally warns them not to visit a clinic. Even as the sisters escape, Albert sabotages the safety cameras to cover up his daughter's presence, then he spreads the dog's blood on his head. Whilst the safety guards eventually arrive, Albert tells Roth and CEO Evelyn that the facility became problem to a cyber attack which launched the dog's protection lock while he changed into operating overdue. But Evelyn is suspicious because because there weren't any ransomware demands. At home, Albert looks after Billy and is forced to explain the dog was being dealt with for a rare genetic disorder. He asks the twins to keep the secret, warning them that Umbrella could punish them seriously if they discover what surely happened. The next morning, Albert examines on Billy with the aid of analyzing her corneas for discoloration. She still feels sore and Albert doesn't like how the wound looks. Meanwhile, Jade searches the net for reviews on the Tijuana incident. There's an internet site claiming to have the truth, but it's blocked with the aid of her internet company. Later at faculty, Jade is careworn because her classmates are too excited about having a duplicate of an anime series. It turns the internet provider additionally belongs to Umbrella, and they've blocked any website associated to pirating or naughty stuff. Simon is the best one which can skip the firewall, so Jade asks him to help her get entry to the internet site with the truth. He manages to do it, and that they discover discussion approximately what passed off in Tijuana. A man became a psycho upon getting bitten by using an animal and started biting other human beings. Jade makes use of Simon's PC to submit her electronic mail deal with, mentioning she's witnessing the equal thing at the same time as telling Simon it is just a prank. Later, Jade gets a name from Angel, the admin from the website. He's a reporter who has grown to be enthusiastic about the unusually high incident price at Umbrella. He used to paintings for a newspaper, however his stories went unpublished because of Umbrella's intervention and he changed into fired. Their verbal exchange is interrupted while Jade is discovered with the aid of the Major and told to go to Elegance, causing Angel to overhear and understand Jade's surname. At his lab, Albert examines Billy's blood below a microscope and injects it into a lab rat. Unexpectedly, he starts off evolved convulsing and injects himself with more of Billy's blood to stabilize his circumstance. Then he has a meeting with Evelyn, who desires to ship out their modern medication and ignores Albert's warning towards dangerous facet effects. While Albert attempts to stop the task, Evelyn reminds him of his condition and the way he's simplest surviving way to her agency and his personal daughter's blood. At home, Billy assessments the wound on the mirror and finally ends up puking within the toilet. Then she attempts to walk her canine Pablo, who gets scared and starts barking at her. She forces the leash on him anyway and takes him out, simplest for Pablo to run faster than ordinary and damage unfastened. He runs down to the park, in which he's picked up through a person. Billy rushes to get her canine back, however Pablo growls at her and the fellow thinks she's a thief. Whilst he insists on taking him to the shelter, Billy punches the fellow and takes Pablo back to the house. Billy gets within the lavatory and notices she's bleeding from her mouth. On the lab, the rat begins smashing the glass. Moments later, Albert is going to his lab and is shocked to look the rat has escaped. Thankfully, it's hiding behind a device and Albert grabs it to take any other blood sample. Seeing its evolution underneath the microscope, he concludes he has 52 hours to deal with Billy before she is going crazy. In the meantime, Jade receives an email from Simon, who has sent her downloaded a web page from Angel's internet site list all the allegations of illegal human experimentation conducted via Umbrella. Within the morning, Billy receives up feeling very disoriented, but she's desperate to depart the house and pretends she's high quality. Albert assessments on the wound and is greatly surprised to look it's better, so he lets her pass. At school, Billy turns into distressed after you have hypersensitive to the sound of Simon's skateboard, however she passes it off as medication hangover. At Umbrella, Evelyn holds a board meeting to speak about Tijuana and their remedy. Albert reminds all and sundry that even as their medication can do miracles, it additionally carries a spin-off of the T-virus, which become advanced for the United States military. An overdose can cause viral manufacturing, mutate the patient, and spread the cannibal disease. He gives his rat as evidence, but Evelyn affords any other animal as a counterpoint. A vicious dog is barking at a cat, but it calms down while Evelyn performs a visible trigger and the cat walks appropriately. She says any other group has developed a variant of the medication and ran it on human trials, at some point of which humans responded the same manner. She thinks they could promote this remedy if they sell it to dispose of anger. While Albert attempts to protest approximately the risks, Evelyn makes him confess that a person would want 20,000 medicine drugs to overdose, which might by no means appear. At faculty, Billy wanders the cafeteria, but the loud noises make her hallucinate, so she runs away. At some point of magnificence, Billy begins feeling extraordinarily ill and runs to the restroom, wherein she pukes once more and sees herself within the replicate as a bloodied corpse. However, it's only a hallucination. Meanwhile, Simon informs Jade that Umbrella has updated the firewall and he needs a new code to break it. He's reluctant to try due to the fact the timing shows they may be onto him, causing Jade to argue with him. Billy sees this and overreacts by way of punching both, simplest to run away whilst she realizes what she did. Jade attempts to comply with her and is blocked by means of Evelyn, who gives her a ride that a cautious Jade turns down. Later at domestic, Jade finds her sister with a broken glass. Billy admits there's something wrong with her, explaining things like sounds and lighting fixtures hurt her, but there's no ache in the reduce on her hand. Jade assures her sister that her emotional state is only a medicinal drug aspect effect. In the gift, Jade and the family head to the tunnel front in her automobile. In the end, they attain another crossing point wherein they ought to pay a smuggler with the car and all the circle of relatives as jewels to be allowed to sign up for the convoy. The refugees board a group of trucks and depart for the tunnel. Soon Baxter arrives at the identical spot, yet the smuggler refuses to give up any facts. But Baxter sees Jade's stolen automobile and knows he's on the proper tune. A few hours later, the convoy involves a prevent after they pay attention a few monsters referred to as lickers in the area. They hunt by using sound, so every person stays quiet while watching for the lickers to leave. At that moment Baxter arrives with his guys and their noise causes the lickers to assault. As the soldiers open fire and use their flamethrowers, the lickers attack the vehicles too, so the refugees should come out and run. The usage of her gun, Jade facilitates the smugglers' shoot on the creatures, who are killing masses of humans on each facets. Only one smuggler is left alive in the give up, so he and Jade manipulate to gather the boy's own family and escape through a service hatch, leaving Baxter and his men to cope with the monsters. Then Jade's organization ought to walk through flooded tunnels. Once they eventually attain a dry place, the boy begins feeling sick and snarls, making them realize he's inflamed. Unexpectedly, the smuggler yells at them to run because he's discovered a massive spider. Whilst he gets killed with the aid of the creature, the others run and conceal, however they can hear the spider coming closer. The daddy reveals a pipe and goes out to fight the monsters so his own family can break out. He does control to hit the spider, but it isn't sufficient and the creature splits him in. Jade opens fireplace, however runs out of bullets, so she runs with the mother and the child. The spider chases after them, and while it's close enough, Jade drops the shutter on it, killing it. Afterward, the mother announces she refuses to depart her son, so Jade keeps her journey on my own. Finally, she gets out of the provided tunnel best to discover Baxter awaiting her. At that moment, the Brotherhood appears and shoots down Baxter to then capture all his men. Jade is fallacious as a part of Baxter's group and gets knocked out too. In 2022 in Tijuana, Angel's interviewing the wife of a deceased manufacturing facility employee. She describes how he changed into bitten at paintings, developed a rash around the wound, and became hypersensitive to light and sound. He became more and more aggressive, and after 3 days, he supposedly killed humans. The girl fingers Angel a USB pressure with a file titled Raccoon Town Incident and the image of an explosion. At home, Jade receives a textual content from Simon inviting her to a celebration. Billy feels sick, however still publicizes they need to move, because if she's going to die then May also is properly laughed beforehand. The birthday party is happening at a constructing web page, in which Simon fails a skateboard trick. Billy copies his stunt and impresses everybody by way of doing it proper. Meanwhile, Angel tracks Jade's cope with and infiltrates New Raccoon Town in a shipping van while following numerous locals on social media. Angel's caught on the security cameras and Roth sends an image to Evelyn, who without delay recognizes him. At home, Albert brings an injection for Billy, however discovers the ladies aren't around. He attempts texting them, but they received respond. Within the evening, Angel reveals the birthday celebration way to pics from social media, and absolutely everyone runs away wondering he's a shield. The twins attempt to run away, but Angel follows them to warn them they're in chance, revealing what occurred to the first Raccoon City. They stated it changed into destroyed with the aid of an explosion because of a gasoline leak, but Angel explains it turned into a nuclear assault planned via the authorities to cowl the first time the virus were given out. Albert became there and died in 2009. There's additionally no facts from the twins' existence anywhere. At that second, Angel grabs Billy and sees the wound, so the sisters panic and run away. Angel tries to comply with them, handiest to be surrounded via umbrella guards. Later, Evelyn interrogates Angel, who calls her out on the disappearance of the worker's wife and all the experiments. On the streets, the twins preserve to run, however Billy is feeling extraordinary and begins shaking. She thinks she's about to convert, but time runs out and she or he's just exceptional. In 2036, Jade, Baxter, and his men are taken away within the Brotherhood's convoy while they examine that heretics are crucified the wrong way up. However, Baxter isn't too concerned because he has a chip in his arm and believes Umbrella is at the way. In the end, they're taken to a prison wherein the Brotherhood keeps around 300 Zeros chained up. The prisoners meet the Brotherhood leader, who believes the plague is God's judgment for Guy's heresy, and the Zeros are transformed sinners made to kill other sinners, so the arena is left for the choose. Jade and Baxter are crushed up and thrown into a cellular, and Jade watches the Zeros, bowled over that they're working in an organized way as they circulate the mechanism that powers the prison. Abruptly, one in every of Baxter's men is dragged out of his cellular and violently reduced to portions with the aid of a chainsaw. Then the portions are thrown at the Zeros for meals. One of the creatures is Mom Zero, who eats before shrieking to make the alternative Zero's paintings again. Jade realizes she's controlling them, which method the virus does evolve. Terrified, Baxter asks Jade to help him get away and trade for reporting her as lifeless. Together they push the mobile door to cast off it from its hinges and right away kill the 2 guards on the corridor. Then they take a radio and the cellular keys, which they use to free Baxter's soldiers. Additionally, they manage to recover their weapons, so when the Chainsaw Man attempts to stop them, they shoot him down. Jade grabs the chainsaw at the same time as the soldiers begin a gunfight with the alternative guards. Baxter pulls a bunch of levers to open the go out and by chance releases the Zeros. Now the group has to shoot each guards and Zeros as they make their mana through the constructing to get away. Baxter manages to combat quite nicely and defeats a bunch of enemies, handiest to realize Jade is long past. She's found a tunnel and is running out with the Brotherhood. Hearing screeches, Jade decides to go returned and closes a gate, setting apart Mother Zero from her horde. Then she makes use of the chainsaw to assault, decapitating the mom after some warfare. The Zeros are now coming after her, so Jade grabs the pinnacle and runs to cover in a room. There she uses the radio to name her daughter and proportion a few loving words before the battery runs out. Because the horde maintains pounding at the door, she tries the chainsaw once more, however it isn't working. Close by she finds a grenade and throws it at the door, but it doesn't work either. At that second the Zeros push down the door and detonate the grenade, which kills most of the creatures and leaves Jade in a very weak country. When a Zero attacks her, it gets shot through Baxter. They begin going for walks together and Baxter maintains on taking pictures the Zeros that observe them. They discover a ladder and Jade is going first. However, whilst Baxter tries, the Zeros snatch him and produce him down. Even as the beasts feed on Baxter, Jade escapes through a sewer hatch, only to be located by Umbrella Squad dies. While considered one of them eliminates their helmet, Jade is shocked to peer Billy. In 2022, Albert is looking for his daughters only for Roth to tug him to the Umbrella building, where Evelyn is scolding Simon on the smartphone for his birthday celebration. It seems he's her son. Then Evelyn takes Albert to see Angel, who has been crushed up, however he nevertheless refuses to be sold into silence. She desires Albert to torture him and at the start he refuses. But whilst Angel mentions that he is aware of the twins, it infuriates Albert and reasons him to start seriously injuring him. At home, the twins look for their start certificates. Alternatively, they discover components for a gun, a canine whistle, and a hidden computer. This one uses an exclusive password, so Jade calls Simon and he cracks it remotely. There aren't any thrilling files, however Simon finds a useless drop that's a machine that desires a password to be positioned each 24 hours or the email may be sent. The message is for Billy, announcing that Umbrella is after her and he left a bag equipped for her to break out. Simon hacks into maximum of the cameras to play a loop, then the twins sneak across the others' cameras to locate Albert's preferred image. Interior there's a observe with a clue, which takes the twins to the piano. They play Moonlight Sonata and find out something is jamming the important thing. Once they eliminate it, they find some other be aware that makes them flow the piano. Simon factors obtainable should be a secret room for Albert to cover stuff in. At the ground, they find out a hidden compartment containing a bag with heaps of cash, 2 passports with the twins' pics, however fake names, and a gun. Simon factors accessible have to be a mystery room for Albert to cover stuff in, and correctly they find a hidden door downstairs. The lock requires a special key and Jade recalls the dog whistle, so she makes use of it to summon Pablo. The dog's collar opens the door and the twins head down into the basement, wherein their call with Simon ends over the lack of signal. They discover Albert's personal lab with all their blood samples and a chair to preserve a person down. There's a container labeled RC 1998 with a DVD, which performs photos of Albert injecting something into a mutated human. Every other record describes Albert's intentions to strap Billy to the chair should she deteriorate. The twins agree to leave and Jade wishes proof. However, while she unhooks the computer, it triggers an alarm. As a fire begins in the room to burn all of the evidence, the sister rush to the door and discover it locked. They keep themselves by using mountain climbing on a desk until the extinguishers put out the flames. Albert enters the room and Jade demands an evidence. Albert refuses to answer and Jade pulls a knife on him, inflicting him to get irritated. Earlier than he can hurt them, Billy knocks him out. Moments later, Albert wakes up tied to the chair and ultimately talks. The canine that bit Jade changed into inflamed with T-virus, which causes mutations. However, Billy seems to be resistant to it. He additionally famous that the twins' embryos have been genetically changed to excel in intellectual and bodily performances. Umbrella is aware of this and will preserve Billy as a lab specimen if they discover she's infected. Albert asks them approximately Angel and the sisters confirm he is aware of about Billy, so Albert says he needs to rescue him earlier than he tells Evelyn and the girls agree to launch him. The subsequent morning, Albert is going to Umbrella and interrogates Angel even is secretly showing him a be aware that asks if absolutely everyone else knows approximately Billy's chunk. Angel says no, and Albert injects him with a remedy that causes him to go into cardiac arrest and die. As a medical crew rushes in, Evelyn accuses Albert of being Angel's mole and he's arrested. Angel's frame is taken to the morgue for an post-mortem, but as quickly because the medical doctor cuts, Angel convulses as his pores and skin modifications color. Down in Umbrella's jail, Albert discovers there's someone inside the cellular next to his and is bowled over to locate an precise double of himself with a beard. In 2036, Jade is locked up at an Umbrella's base and is interrogated through Billy, who's working for Evelyn on her international domination purpose. All of a sudden, Billy sends the other guards away and modifications her tone, admitting she had been incorrect to choose Umbrella and that Jade is immune to the virus, but she isn't. It's simply transferring slowly in her. Billy then releases Jade as she tells her in which to find a university search group and slices an Umbrella tracking chip from her arm so she will break out freely. After punching Billy, Jade collects the severed head of Mother Zero and runs out. In the end, Jade reaches the coast and is found using the college Seek team, who speedy take her to their Deliver. There, Jade eventually reunites with her circle of relatives. Sometime later, the Deliver modifications its route due to the fact they skip close to a ghost craft, which means there are Zeros alive underwater. Meanwhile, Jade joins Amrita at the lab to carry out an autopsy on Mother Zero's head. They research that Mother's body is generating enzymes, but they degrade upon exposure to oxygen. Over the nighttime, they go through 55 unique exams to keep the enzymes with synthetic saliva. However, ultimately it's Jade's saliva that makes it work. They introduce T-virus to the enzymes, determining that one has an appealing assets and the other a repelling belongings, meaning that those enzymes could be used to both ward Zeros away and to control them. Inside the Midnight, Jade sneaks on a ship and fishes out a Zero for more checks. The Zero attempts to attack her, however Jade places it to sleep with an injection. Inside the Morning, Jade ties the Zero up at the lab on the equal time that be involved see her. The female gets scared, however Jade calms her down by announcing she's observed the answer and makes her stay through the door to watch. Jade covers her frame with the Mother's enzyme and pricks her finger earlier than coming near the Zero. The trick works and the creature doesn't assault her, but when becomes nearer, the Zero snarls. It manages to interrupt its bindings and pushes Jade away to chase after B, who goes to different adults for assist. The Zero unearths Amrita and jumps on her, without delay killing her. At that moment, a Defend comes out and kills the creature, and Jade comes to take full duty. Amrita's husband is furious and tries to shoot Jade, however Arjun pushes his arm to make him fail. Suddenly they listen a noise and observe a gaggle of helicopters approaching. A flashback then jumps to 2005, where 3 exclusive Alberts are operating collectively at an Umbrella outpost. Their personalities are exclusive, but all 3 of them are clones of the original Albert, a superhuman who is also their chief. Original Albert notices one among his clones is listening to track and threatens to slice off every other finger if he doesn't behave. Suddenly a bunch of squadized bursts in to arrest him for his or her unauthorized use of Umbrella assets. Together with his enhanced capabilities, original Albert defeats them in seconds. But there are more infantrymen coming, so authentic Albert attempts to kill his clones to save you them getting used. The soldiers arrive quicker than he idea and open hearth, so he simplest manages to kill one clone earlier than he runs away. The alternative 2 clones are arrested as Evelyn makes her manor interior. In 2022, the Alberts inside the cells are the clones, seeing every different again after 17 years. Bird has been locked up the entire time and is bowled over to listen that Albert become allowed to have a life. Their communication is interrupted whilst the guards take Albert away. He's tied to a chair so he can be interrogated by using Evelyn, who knows his injection killed Angel and confirms that Bert became the one who created the medication variation. Given that Albert refuses to go together with Evelyn's plans, she asks Roth to inject him with the variation and Albert quickly begins feeling sick. Meanwhile, within the cellular, Bert kills a Defend with a razor and presses a pillow over every other one to finish him off. He additionally shaves himself and leaves the cell searching precisely like Albert. Later on, Bert indicates up on the college with a stolen car and pounds at the horn until the twins come over him. He avoids answering questions using pronouncing they'll talk later and they force away. However, the sisters are stunned by way of his loopy using. The trio makes it to an eating place and the girls word their dad is behaving odd. Noticing a reduce on his finger, they finish Umbrella ought to VE injected him with something. In the period in between, Evelyn is going domestic for dinner and places some remedy in her wife's drink that is observed by way of Simon. Evelyn leaves the bottle at the back of to take a name from Roth and Simon uses the risk to steal some medication. Then Evelyn asks her son to text Jade, pronouncing she may be in problem. Simon does so and Jade asks for help. Then Bert snaps at a waitress and the ladies demand a proof. Bert tells them about the clones, which scares the twins and they try to escape. The Umbrella retailers appear out of doors so they need to run via the lower back door. Bert comes out and makes use of his great strength to kill all of the retailers, including the one that tries to tase him to no avail. Then he goes after Roth, who quickly hints him to handcuff him to the car. Afterward, Roth forces the twins to visit Umbrella, wherein Evelyn shows them a completely ill Albert. The men take blood samples from the ladies, while Evelyn explains that none of the clones weren't helpful, so Albert engineered the twins' embryos to use their blood in each day transfusions that stored him strong. Then Evelyn places a pattern in Albert's hand and he injects himself, quick getting better. The twins are disgusted that they were created for this and say they hate Albert earlier than walking away. In 2036, Jade runs to Mother Zero's head and cracks it to find a tracking chip underneath. This is how Umbrella observed them. The Deliver's chief Saquim is going to the shore and meets with Evelyn, who has an elderly in any respect. Evelyn wishes Jade and threatens to blow up the Deliver if they are trying anything. At the Deliver, Jade is restricted in a room. Whilst becomes to go to, Jade tells her to get a hidden inexperienced duffel bag and go away the ship. Soon Jade is taken to the Umbrella base and is taken aback to find Evelyn dancing in her tent. It's revealed that Billy has been controlling her with the medication variation, and he or she has been the real head of Umbrella for years with the aid of controlling Evelyn from the shadows. She allowed Jade go to locate the university's ship and now desires to hold her to apply her blood as a stabilizer for herself. Billy controls Evelyn to reserve a Defend to capture the Deliver, and when Jade protests, the Defend grabs her. Then Jade throws a bottle on the ground, liberating the attractor enzyme. Quickly, a massive horde of Zeros assaults the vicinity, overwhelming the soldiers who don't have enough guns to deal with one of these massive quantity of enemies. As the soldiers are killed one after the other, the Deliver sees the attack and takes off, revealing they've a massive inflamed crocodile attached underwater. In 2022, Evelyn takes Bert back to his cell and offers him a brand new assignment as she exhibits a bizarre humanoid creature in a tank. In the meantime, Roth drops the twins at their residence, telling them they've 5 minutes to present and come lower back to the car. Manifestly, they want to break out, so Jade distracts Roth whilst Billy recovers the bag Albert left for them at the same time as coping with insufferable dizziness. In a while, they sneak out via the window, however Roth catches them purple-exceeded. All at once, Billy goes crazy and attacks Roth, so Jade attempts to help her, however Roth quickly brings them both down. The reinforcements are becoming nearer. As a consequence, Billy tells Jade to run before tackling Roth again. Jade manages to break out and Billy gets captured. She's taken to Umbrella, where Evelyn manipulates her with the aid of promising to remedy her. Tests are run and that they finish the T-virus is in her blood, however inactive. Then Billy is injected with something that makes her convulse and scream. In the meantime, Simon is involved, approximately his mother's uncommon conduct. Jade arrives with Pablo and tells Simon the entirety, making him comprehend what the medication is doing to his mother. The female accidentally cooks her finger while cooking, yet she doesn't feel any pain. Simon calls Evelyn and needs a proof, inflicting her to snap and show her authentic shades. Furious, Simon hangs up and agrees to assist Jade, hacking into the locks of Umbrella's building. Upstairs, Billy regains manipulative herself and fights returned the lab tech, stabbing him in the attention with the syringe and slashing Evelyn. Whilst she tries to depart, she's suddenly beaten by using hallucinations of blood, alarms, and the canine, causing her to have a breakdown. Thankfully, Bert suggests up and snaps her out of it, convincing her to move see Albert. Each twins make it to Albert's room on the identical time and the institution consents to break out collectively. Alas, the protection device kicks and even as the creature wakes up in its tank, the organization runs to cover, handiest for Billy to unexpectedly go crazy once more. She assaults Jade and bites Simon, instantly infecting him. The guards surround them and Evelyn is horrified to see her son has been bitten, so she at once shoots him. The clones use the risk to attack the guards and a gunfight ensues. Roth has no preference but to run away even as all his men are killed. Then the clones drag the ladies out to escape whilst Evelyn stares on the body of her son. The twins and the clones run out and sneak round to keep away from security vehicles, hiding at the back of the first door they discover. The clones start soaking the lab with chemical substances to make a bomb and Albert tells his daughters to break out with Bert at the same time as he stays to set the bomb off. Because the trio runs away, Evelyn enters the lab and shoots Albert 2 times, but he nonetheless manages to begin the fireplace. Evelyn runs as the complete constructing goes up in flames. Even as the fire trucks go using, Bert steals a vehicle and takes the twins out of town. The firemen efficiently recover Evelyn from the wreckage, and the rubble, the arm of the tank creature bursts out. In 2036, the squad dies attempt their satisfactory to guard the bottom, but they preserve going down. Billy hits Jade in anger and runs lower back into the tent, wherein Evelyn reminds her she's nothing without her. Out of doors, infantrymen strive to drag Jade away, however she quick fights them and frees herself. At that moment, Billy activates Umbrella's drones, which start to wipe out the Zeros and allows Jade to get away. Due to the fact she's still protected inside the deterrent enzyme, the Zeros ignore her and she manages to make it to the shore. Arjun throws a rope for her to climb aboard the ship. Then Jade convinces Sakwam and Arjun to release the mutant crocodile. Eventually, Billy's drones achieve wiping out the Zeros, however this additionally kills all the squad dies besides for one. At that moment, the mutant crocodile arrives, geared up to assault. On the deliver, Jade realizes that Bee escaped to the shore like she instructed her to. Billy runs up the hill with the soldier, who is fast killed whilst she makes the drones shoot on the crocodile. Because the beast destroys a drone with its mouth, Billy unearths a grenade in a soldier's pocket and throws it at the crocodile, causing it to roll down the hill into the water and knock down the helicopter in the manner. Jade and Arjun are approaching a boat to search for Bee, however the crocodile's tail knocks them out. Minutes later, the couple wakes up at the shore, but Arjun's not able to walk and tells Jade to move find their daughter. Meanwhile, Billy shoots some more Zeros as she runs and reaches a 2D helicopter, escaping proper earlier than the crocodile reaches her. Afterward, the beast chases after Bee, best to calm down while it smells her. All at once, the helicopter shoots some missiles, so Bee runs away whilst the crocodile dies. Then Bay is observed by way of Jade, who takes the gun from her bag when Billy and her guys try to technique them. Billy begins insulting her and makes her have a breakdown with the aid of stating each person around her dies due to her selfishness. Jade has the same opinion to go away with Billy if she could be cross, but Billy shoots Jade and takes Bee to the helicopter while Jade watches in tears. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.